Part 11. We are in here. This is episode 4. All right. This is part 11 of episode 4 of Tablet Talks. Welcome back. I'm your author. I'm your host, Tehuti. I am excited. Honestly, just because I have like a really fat bowl packed. With keef, like you know how when you're grinding up your greens and you have that keef catcher at the bottom, big key for more keef. Major key for more keef. If you would like to know, I'm about to share it with you. Put 2 quarters in your grinder, you will get so much keef. Like just literally grind up your weed, do whatever you want to, but keep the quarters in there and shake it. And just shake that grinder. If you have a keef catcher, especially, what's going to happen is that the nugs that grind up from the teeth and fall in will then get mashed in between the quarters. And the more you grind up your trees, the more you just shake this grinder in general, the quarters are mashing all the nugs into keef. So you're actually literally, it becomes a keef machine. Like you can turn any grinder with a keef catcher, if it's big enough for 2 quarters to fit in, into a keef machine. Truly, make your own keef. It's it's amazing. Welcome back to Tablet Talks. That was just a little trick tip for turning your grinder into a keef machine if you are into chiefing greens in any way, shape, or form. We're about to continue reading this tablet. We got cut off in the last episode. So, whatever. Let's go. Right now, it's just talking about, like, the universe. You know, we're taking it one line at a time. That slaps. Shout out Keith. Keith hits so much harder than just, like, the flower. And it only makes sense as far as getting it to a finer consistency so that when you do light it, you're actually essentially inhaling way more of the plant. All that exists comes forth from the light, and the light comes forth from the all. Everything it created is based upon order. Law rules a space where the infinite dwells. We've covered that already. The all is the feminine, so alone is masculine, that is fire. All one is feminine, that is water. And it's only when these two things come together can life be created. And life is air. And then life settles into earth. So everything you can touch is basically earth. And then that earth exists inside of air, because that air is what is connecting you to the earth. And that's all being created from the combination of fire and water based on the spirit that's uniting those two things. The spirit being nothing at all. This realm, as we consistently see in Tablet Talks, is obsessed with making you think that your spirit is the light so that they can trap your idea about light and thus trap you to consistently give your fire and water to them so that you're constantly communicating about them, for them, and building their world, building their structures. So this is the point of them releasing my tablets in English like this, and why it's important for me to now be here as Chase Clarence Calloway, using English and using the tools that were specifically created to get people lost to liberate them. Here we are. All that exists comes forth from the light, and the light comes forth from the all. Of course, the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. It's just about when people are restricted to certain things, as an angel, as a spirit at all, the only way you can communicate to them if they're lost in those things is through those things. So this is what we're talking about with being blinded by light. When you are only looking at one light, when you're filled up by some source consciousness, you're ignoring the entire universe. You're ignoring the infinity of everything else. Just because you were taught by this one thing that it is everything. So you're actually not able to see the infinite party going on because you're an infinite slave to something that told you that it is the only party in the universe. Sad. Very sad. So sad. We're gonna take a hit on that just to ground some other feelings besides sadness in there. Comedy. Woo! Air is freedom. But they're working so hard to colonize freedom. So it's about making you believe in their freedom, which is slavery. Because you yourself are freedom. And the moment you believe in whatever you see, you are restricting the freedom that you truly are. Because true freedom is no desire at all. It's no body. It's to just not be anything. From equilibrium came forth the great cycles, moving in harmony toward infinity's end. Know, O man, that far in the time-space, infinity itself shall pass into change. The only constant is change. Hearken and listen to the voice of wisdom. Know that all is of all evermore. Know that through time you may pursue wisdom. Through time you may pursue wisdom and find evermore light on the way. Know that through time you may pursue wisdom and find evermore light on the way. Okay. It sounds like a fun adventure novel. Cool. That's not actually wise, but as far as adventure, you shall find your goal ever receding to elude you from day unto day. A long time ago, in the halls of Amenti, I, Thoth, stood before the lords of the cycles. Mighty they were in their aspects of power. Mighty they were in their wisdom unveiled. Led by the dweller, I first did see them, but afterwards I was free in their presence, free to enter their conclave at will. Often I journeyed down the dark pathway to the hall where the light ever glows. I learned of the masters of cycles, wisdom brought from the cycles above. They manifested in this cycle as guides of man, to bring knowledge of all. They are the seven, mighty in power, speaking these words through me to men. Time after time, I stood before them, listening to words that came not with sound. Once they said unto me, O man, wouldst thou gain wisdom? Seek it for in the heart of the flame. Wouldst thou gain knowledge of power? You're not going to get any wisdom in a flame. That's knowledge. Knowledge is a flame because a flame is never ending. Knowledge is never ending. There's no ledge to what can be made up from the darkness, from the invisible space that visible thing is. This doesn't even make sense. To be like, hey, you want wisdom, get blinded by this light, go into the eternal flame. Immediately, true wisdom would have me be like, whoa, I know this isn't the flame. And I would immediately just be way more oppositional to authority, like I am, naturally. And this is all these tablets are all about taking who I am as an infinite individual and making me seem like I got all of my power through some source outside of myself or a government. Because it is the ultimate projection of the entities who have colonized my texts and have released it in a way that is meant to entrap and ensnare the senses of everyone who is trying to get some magic in their life. They are the seven, mighty in power, speaking these words through me to men, right? They're talking about the numbers. These numbers don't rule over us. They rule over the universe, and we create the universe. We create nature. So when we fight ourselves, that's like us fighting nature. It's like that simple. So it's not about worshiping anything outside of yourself at all. It's not. It's just these entities work so hard to set up circumstances where you do worship them because they know that you're infinite and they don't want you truly being free in the universe because they have so much scarcity, negative mentality inside of themselves. They don't want other spirits to be free. A true deep, like they feel like they don't want to keep leveling up, perhaps. It's true scarcity mindset. It's very weird. Many times they spoke to me, teaching me wisdom not of the world, showing me ever new paths to brightness, teaching me wisdom brought from above, giving knowledge of operation, learning of law, the order of all. The seven spoke to me again, saying, from far beyond time we have come, O man. We travel from beyond time space, from the place of infinity's end. This is made up. This is made up. I like, and it's wild for me to be saying that, and like observing myself saying that. It's like easy to want to, but it's like it's made up, especially with everything I just know innately. Like if we're making it purely logical, everything I'm talking about with just numbers in general, there is no one entity that rules over a number space. We are all infinite spirits deciding to connect together. I truly, as Tehuti, cannot imagine that I was not putting out the text in a way that I'm just talking about what we naturally do and how to naturally do it better so we can have a greater awareness of it. That's real chemistry and chemet. That's just us with the awareness that we create life. So let's create life like this. But these entities are so obsessed with making you believe that you don't create life that they want to anthropomorphize. I added an extra syllable in there. Anthropomorphize comedy. Anthropomorphize the numbers and turn them into lords so that they lord over you. And then they're just making up all this stuff about how the numbers taught me. What? They're working so hard to take away my infinite individuality so that they can take away your infinite individuality. It's ridiculous. And it is only showing how not of an infinite individual they are. Even though they're still infinity, whatever. They're still infinite, but like they're not. Because you're only as good as you feel. So if they feel so finite that they need to work this hard to impinge upon the freedom of others, I would hate to know what's going on in their internal fire and water realm. It's a grossness. It's clearly trickling in here, though. Their dreams must be... clearly their spirit is wildly, beyond comprehension, messed up. So whatever. This is the communication. When ye and all of your brethren were formless, we were formed from the order of all. We are not as men, though once we, too, were as men. We were formed out of the great void, in order, by law. For know that which is formed is truly formless, having form only to thine eyes. And again unto me spoke the seven, saying, O Thoth, child of the light, thou art free to travel the bright path upward, until at last all ones become one. Oh, yo, that's crazy. I am about to burst all of my blood vessels and just burst all my blood vessels. I'd throw all my blood on the ground just to like show, like, here's how I feel. Here's how I feel about this. That's the point of blood. All right. Keeps you connected. All right. The heart's constantly pumping it to keep you connected. No one can see how you feel. Your blood is the closest physical representation to how you feel. Right? Like, oh, that makes my blood boil. It's all there. Okay. It's all subconscious. This is all we can do if we're going to be making life. This is the point of wisdom, communicating about nature and then communicating about how we create nature so that we can have a greater awareness of how we should create nature together, or just stay free and not get lost in nature, and then not get lost in other people's ideas that nature allows them to create. Because that's where we get the infinite logical lostness that is only being created from nature. No matter how much it ignores nature, right? No matter how much all this artificial intelligence stuff ignores nature, the only reason they can continuously create technology is because they have colonized the lands of indigenous peoples and are stealing all their materials and using fire to turn it into metals that they're using to then separate us from life further. So the whole focus of all this is clearly to make us worship stuff outside of ourselves. They will literally anthropomorphize and turn anything into any kind of lord or god or higher entity and do their best to convince you to worship it. You are everything and you are nothing. And really it's that you are nothing. And from there, it's only from being nothing that you can decide what you want to be and be anything you want to be. It's literally just that spirits have such a negative relationship with themselves that they don't feel good about being nothing. I feel good about being nothing. That's literally how I'm infinite. So spirits that don't feel good about being nothing, they're going to create bodies to run away into physical reality. And then that's where you get spirits who are scared of hell. That's where you get spirits who are scared of really death in general and then are really living then out of fear at the reaction of life. Because they're in the body, they forgot that they're a spirit, and now they're controlled by the bigger body, and thus controlled by the spirits that control the body that their body exists in. And if they were a spirit, if they knew that they were a spirit outside of the body that they have a body in, then they would be able to play the game at the same level that the spirits who are operating the reality they're in are. And they won't be fearful. They won't be at the reaction of the world. They're going to be ahead of the curve because time is being created by us. Of course, they're not teaching that down here. We do. When you're rolling with Symmetry, when you're rolling with Tehuti, when you're rolling with Chase, Clarence, Calloway, Chickatet, when you're rolling with the Atlantean crew, when you're rolling with just Egypt, Kemet in general, Always Ascending Academy, you know that you create life, and then that we all create life together. And anyone who's trying to convince us otherwise wants us to create life for their idea. And the moment we believe in their idea, we're creating life for them. So we're going to be doing infinite things. It's just going to look like all this wisdom stuff that the tablets should have been sharing, but of course, colonialism. And again unto me spoke the seven, saying, O Thoth, child of the light, thou art free to travel the bright path upward. And see, it didn't even have to be just 7. They literally could have had 9 or 8. But they want 7 because it's literally like just metaphysically, subconsciously, to sever you from your spirit. And really hammer in that this is their individual thought that you're supposed to worship and believe in. So they're trying to even make like the gematria work for themselves in that way. Thou art free to travel the path. Yeah, we were formed after our order. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like they're literally just ignoring 1 and 2. They're just ignoring fire and water. Just because. I mean, logically, literally, to make it work, they just want to have 7 numbers to sever you from your spirit. So that this light is numerically, based on everything they already just stole from us, strong enough to keep you lost. Remarkable. Each having here a duty to fulfill, each having here a force to control. See, that's true, but that's just naturally. It's not, these numbers are not lords. These numbers are what we naturally do. Okay, so watching the building blocks of life, I talk about this, of how spirits use numbers to architect reality. And this is all it's about. It's not that these numbers architect reality. We use numbers to architect reality. This white supremacy is ridiculous. Yet we are one with the soul of our cycle. Yet we too are seeking a goal. Far beyond man's conception, infinity extends into a greater than all. There, in a time that is yet not a time, we shall all become one with a greater than all. Time and space are moving in circles. Yeah, there's just the greater than. You are already one. You're already one. The fact that you're aware enough to hear and comprehend my voice and my words shows that you are one. Any desire to connect with someone else and become a one there, that's just for whatever reason you don't want to connect with your one, your individual, you, you, not someone else's idea. Don't let someone else teach you what this other thing is and that you need to connect there. You literally only need to learn how to connect with yourself. That's how you're going to create life. Otherwise, you're basically the creation. Like the moment you believe in someone else's idea to where you are only operating from that, you are honestly not creating life. You are just a creation of their life. So that's like Americans for all this time, and the world especially, using the banking system, using money. They're not really creating life for themselves too much at that point. They're much more the creation of the entities who created life by making everyone operate under the idea of money. They're actually creating life. Whereas everyone who's using money are using their powers to create life to be the creation in someone else's life. Zuh. And that's in general, we're just talking about like not the concept of money, the way that it's been executed with the banking system and like the Rothschild family and all that stuff. Specifically, like if we're thinking like the ability, like we're seeing now with cryptocurrency, to set your own currency, to set your own money, and then people believe in that, that is now the future wave. So we're talking about the way that the world has been built so far is by making people believe that they need to earn money to be free. But the thing is, they will never have enough money to be as free as they truly are as a spirit, and thus they're never happy, and then they're trapped in hell. And that's how the government siphons energy from people. There, in a time that is yet not a time, we shall all become one with the greater. Then he of nine spoke to me, saying, Eons and eons I have existed, knowing not life and tasting not death. Know ye, O man, that far in the future, life and death shall be one with the all. What is this saying now? This just sounds like weird. Each so perfected by balancing the other, that neither exists in the oneness of all. What kind of weird desire is this? Life and death is literally just the interplay of spirit. Like, bro, we gotta have a balance. What is this? Like, this is not me. I'm not writing this. That's the point of these tablet talks, right? It's just I know countless spirits have read and bought into all of these tablets that they are thinking are actually created and pushed by me somehow. I get it. It's only obvious that I didn't write it to me because it's so lost. And that's the point of this series. But like, I'm sure this didn't resonate with real spirits. And I don't mean, hey, when I say real, I just mean spirits who love themselves. And real is like you love yourself. Real is when we think like REAL versus, and then REAL and REEL. So real, like a movie, is something that repeats. What's real? Whatever is real, there's no such thing as real. Everything's an illusion. But the illusion that you want to repeat over and over, like a movie reel, is what feels real. And now that's real. And then that's what like you value. And then that's how real is all that vibration. I don't even know how I just got on real actually like that, but hey, that's what it means to be real. Because nothing is real, everything's an illusion. It's just literally, what do you feel like is in congruence with your infinite nothingness? And then as long as you're always in congruence with your infinite nothingness, you are real. And then that's where people appear real. And then it's like when you say like, oh, someone's real, it's because they're congruent with themselves. They're not like a people pleaser. They're not like running around trying to like externalize themselves and serve others and be at the reaction of their environment. they're consistently creating a life that cannot really be, or even, well, life inside themselves, consistently creating a vibe, an aura, a life inside, an atmosphere inside themselves, a vibe turning into atmosphere, uh, that is consistent. So that's what it means to be real, as far as repeating a movie in your head. And then that's where you would have your dreams, and it's important to chase your dreams, because those are the movie real images that you just have like going over and over. And then as long as you feel a very high vibration about that, you're on your way to manifesting, my guy, whatever you want. Then he of nine spoke to me, saying, Eons and eons I have existed, knowing not life, tasting not death. So it's just trying to say, like, no balance, all one. This is disgusting. So yeah, we know I did not write this. Know ye, O man, that far in the future, life and death shall be one with all. Each so perfected by balancing the other, neither exists in the oneness of all. In men of this cycle, the life force is rampant, but life in its growth becomes one with them all. Here I manifest in this your cycle, but I am there in your future of time. This is lostness. This is made up. It's like they took the real wisdom, the real truly practical Virgo wisdom that I instituted in a Taurus-like fashion, for it to be perceived in a Gemini way, for all to just be able to level up from a fixed point. After working on it internally so much, they turn it into this, turn it into some weird comic book where they're just really trying to make people feel unworthy. And they're just putting in all the weird, like, story comic book lostness that they can from their own imagination to make people feel unworthy. And then worship said imagination. So it's just comedy as me being me, actually reading this. Yet to me time exists not. In my world time exists not, for we are formless. We have not life, but yet have existence, fuller and greater and freer than thine. Man is a flame bound to a mountain, but we in our cycle shall ever be free. Know ye, O man, that when ye have progressed into the cycle that lengthens above, life itself still pass into the darkness, and only the essence of soul shall remain. Then to me spoke the Lord of the Eight, saying, all that ye know is but part of little. Not as yet have touched on the great. Far out in space, where light reigns supreme, came I into the light. Formed was I also, but not as thou art. Body of light was my formless form formed. Know I not life, and know I not death, yet master am I of all that exists. Seek ye to find the path through the barriers. Travel the road that leads to the light. The nine spoke again to me, saying, seek to find the path to beyond. It is not impossible to grow to a consciousness above. This is lost. Gross. I'm not even interested in that. Literally, I'm not even interested in that. I believe in my consciousness already so hard. I don't need some other consciousness telling me that I need to go search and strive down this path to then attain whatever, a greater consciousness. Ridiculous. I love myself too much for that. Doesn't even make sense. That's not wisdom. That's not sustainable. Like, what happens when I get to that consciousness and then they tell me that I need to go attain a greater consciousness over here? That's the problem with going to anything outside of yourself. So the other tablets, they tried to like pull some crap where they're saying that if you go within, so they're weaponizing that I would be saying go within because you are within. You don't need to be going without. All right, your body is an externalization of you. Go within. It's all space within space. And then from there, when you go within, you'll be able to learn and like glean the wisdom necessary for how you, as an infinite individual, can expand outward into the universe. Because we all have our infinite place in the universe. I'm the God of wisdom. You are the God of anything. And it's literally not even about being attached to these labels. It's just that naturally it should be who you are, a true expression of you. All these entities that are working so hard to be me is because they aspire for the vibration that I create inside of myself, I guess, right? Like they aspire for my imagination. The point is, I'm an infinite individual just like you. I have the same amount of time in the day just like you. If we spend our time differently, then that shows that we feel like doing things differently. And then that's where the real spirit shines. So, hey, again, it comes down to creators and colonizers. This is why I'm not attached to really being understood as being Thoth, whereas entities that want to be are going to latch onto that and constantly try to make who they are right now work with everything that they're consciously aware of about Thoth on like such a surface level. And like we've seen, it's almost always coming from that agenda of pushing all oneness anyway, because that's the desire that you would have to want to be me when I'm me. I'm me. All right? I'm me. You should not want to be all one with anyone or anything except yourself. I'm just excited for people to start loving themselves. Because, like, this is the wave. It's lit. It's just that's the only way, like, the spiritual warfare is going to get better. This is why our hearts are full. Comedy. If that's going to be an email synchronicity, we'll just leave it as an email synchronicity. But also, like, we can just go into that. Your hearts are full of what? Full of desire? Because then that's where, like, love is desire, but this is the problem. This is what will keep the war going forever. If your heart is full of desire, those desires are going to clash with other desires, and that's why people can be passionate enough to kill or just infringe upon the consent of other spirits because their heart is full. So this is why, I mean, forget love, bro. Like, love is cool because it's the most desired emotion in the universe. It's just true power is desirelessness, okay? True power is desirelessness. And then from there, using desires to navigate and enhance your spirit, your desirelessness. Because, I mean, you're not in a body to just do nothing. Like, you do nothing to do nothing. That's the point of resting in between having bodies and just being in your spirit space in general, or in your fire space or in your water space, versus connecting with the air. And then actually going back into fleshly, grounded body life with the earth. Make me one with the all soul, shining from the blackness of night. Yeah, free me, free let me be of all space-time, free from the veil of the night, the all soul. So even here, literally the all one realm that I'm talking about, the infinite cosmic feminine womb that we are all expressing our individuality inside of together. You shouldn't want to merge with that. That's infinitely chaotic. Like, they're trying to control that too. It makes no sense. You are alone always. This is why all these European stories just throughout centuries, like I mean, what? We're in year 2021. For 2021 years at least, it has been a cultural norm to hate being alone and to be scared of being alone. And this is something that people somehow relate on, because it shows just the major symptom of an anti-spiritual society is that people hate themselves so much that they hate being alone. So they need to distract themselves with each other. That's how you create hell. And then if you can institute a system called money that then siphons people's energy and you just maintain that, well, I guess you got a good business going. Wild. Oh, man. Make me one with the... Yeah, no. I, a child of light, command to be free from the darkness. I am formless. To the light soul, formless yet shining with light. The spirit is formless. See, it's like they're throwing in just like the little truths just to like have that kind of enough of the vibration to sell the lie, I suppose. From the darkness, I am formless. The spirit is formless. And then a true expression of spirit is darkness. And the ideal expression of spirit is whatever light that is like way more specific than darkness. But the spirit is darkness if it's expressing itself. And then from there, its ideal self that it's striving for is some light. And then that's where we get the infinite details, because we're all darkness. Like, we're all emotion. We all connect with ourselves. The logic is, how do we connect with ourselves? How do we connect with each other? How do we feel about ourselves? How do we feel about each other? That's where we get life, which never ends. Now I give this wisdom. Free may you be, O man, living in light and in brightness. Turn not your face from the light. Your soul dwells in realms of brightness. You are a child of the light. This is so sad. Turn your thoughts inward, not outward. Boo! Right. Okay. So they're saying what I said the other tablets did, right? Find the light soul within. So they're trying to say that your source is going to be within, because you're within. That's your imaginations and your feelings are coming from within. Man, shame on them. Know that you are the master. Okay. But then why would you, if you're the master, what kind of paradox is it to then link with the all one and want to join someone else and be filled up? Have your darkness filled by this light. What? All else is brought from within. Grow to realms of brightness. Hold your thought on the light. Know you are one with the cosmos, a flame and a child of the light. Now I give you a warning. Let not the thought turn away. Know that the brightness flows through your body. I turn not to the dark brothers that come from the brothers of black. Keep your eyes ever lifted. Keep your soul in tune with the light. Keep your soul in tune with the light. They're literally saying your soul, your infinite perspective in tune with the light, their logical perspective. They have to teach you what light is. Why? Because you yourself are the light. If you're consciously aware, guess what? You're light. That's it. That's it. You're light. And you're vibrating at a certain way based on your subconscious. And that's your soul, which is invisible. And that is being created by your spirit. That is your infinite everything, just nothingness. Because everything comes from nothing. So infinite individuality. Because no one can control that. People can control your consciousness because your consciousness is restricted by what you can see. So spirits that were in a space before you can easily control what you can see. And if they desire to, then they'll work really hard at that, like we're seeing. Now I give you a warning. Let not the thought turn away. Know that the brightness flows through your body. Keep your eyes... Yeah, so they're literally saying keep your soul in tune with the light. To worship it. That's what it means to worship. I covered that in Cosmic Conversations. To give your water, to give your soul to a light outside of yourself. And that light is then really going to be earth. And now you're creating life for that spirit because they built a structure for you already. Where it's like, hey, this is the all. This is the source. Everyone just believe in this. And now they're creating life. And everyone is a creation of that. Follow the pathway to brightness, and you shall be one with the way. Boo. All right. Are we about to? Yes. Bet. That has been part 11. Yes. This is our twin ones, our little twin flame episode. Did that have twin flame energy? Meh. Whatever. I will see you in segment 12, where we will then communicate further about, looks like, the keys of mysteries. Great is the wisdom of the seven. It's really just about to be more lostness, guys. I mean, that's what we're here for, right? Decoding, decolonizing, and deciphering, decrypting all this lostness so that we can level up even greater in the face of demons, in the face of people who want to get us lost in logic. This is why I love my demons personally. I love people who oppose me almost more than people who don't, honestly, in a lot of situations, especially as a Virgo. Just because people who love you, they very much desire to keep you comfortable. So they're not going to challenge you in ways that your spirit actually needs to be challenged to level up. Whereas people who hate you are leveling you up. People who hate you are just making you stronger because they're hitting you with all this uncomfortable energy. And they love you, aka they desire you. They care about you so much that they want to hit you with this uncomfortable energy so that you can just like level up even further in a way that someone who loves you is not trying to make you feel and not going to help you with. A perfect example is fighting. So if you're with loved ones, a loved one generally isn't going to try and fight you. But then people who hate you will try to fight you. And if you fight those people who hate you on a consistent basis, you're going to get way stronger and actually like way healthier and just become way more of a badass fighting those people who hate you than if you had just stayed safe with people who love you. And this is just a big difference between comfort and uncomfort, and why life is actually lived outside of your comfort zone, and why you're in a body right now that is almost slightly painful at like any given moment. If you were to like really hone in on some part of your body, you can like find parts, I'm sure, that are like, that's just like uncomfortable, or like I can feel that, even like that's interesting. Like wearing clothes, even like clothes that like are slightly more itchy, and like they give your skin a different sensation. So life begins outside the comfort zone. That is why you are a spirit in a body, and why you are in this space with all these other spirits and bodies, and we can all relate on what we're going through together. And then it lets us level up together. And the things that we hate, we actually relate on. These things rhyme for a reason. We relate on what we hate because that shows that we can connect on something much greater. And it lets us know, it's just very cathartic. It lets spirits know that like they're with other spirits that they can basically go to war with. Right? So like it's cathartic for so many people to hate on the Illuminati and hate on the child sex trafficking that's so popular in North and South America, because no one wants to feel like they support that, although they logically and emotionally are every single day living in a society where they're voting for these politicians and doing this stuff and not really even communicating or caring about it really until it's proposed to them. So people like to feel like they care, but if they most of the time can get away with not caring and looking like they care, they will. And that's just dealing with spirits who, again, don't actually love themselves. If you're a spirit who loves yourself, then you have the capacity to love other spirits. Because when I talk to spirits about like why they don't really care about things, it literally always comes down to they don't have their own shit together. And they don't feel like they have their own like capacity for like being happy. So how could they even like help others or like make them happy? That's real. And then that's where it's like, yo, absolutely. Stay on the journey, brother. Stay on the journey, sis. Like it's real out here. That's why you're in a body. Um, so whatever. We're about to get in here in part 12. I'll see you. Gang.